They say that time is the most precious commodity. The question is, what do we do with that commodity? How do we use it? There are 1,440 minutes in the day. And if we divide by 2, that means that there's 1/720th of our day in every 2 minutes. What we do with those 2 minutes can make or break our and other people's lives. I learned the power and the potential of 2 minutes from one of the greatest educators of the past 50 years. Rabbi Avrohom Pam, Zichrono Livracha, was the Rosh Yeshiva of Torah V'das. For over 50 years, he taught hundreds of students, but more importantly, he was a role model for his generation. Rav Pam was a devoted spouse, a loving parent, and a Rebbe to his generation. Rav Pam told me once that 2 minutes is the secret to success. In 2 minutes, you can build someone up and you can create worlds. Although I did not learn in Torah V'das, I had the unique privilege of being able to work with Rav Pam on several projects. My first encounter with Rav Pam was bringing a group of youth to visit him in New York. This group of boys was from a day school out of town, and it was a diverse group. There were boys who were from religious homes, boys who were from not so religious homes, and boys who were from homes who were actually anti-religious. The common denominator was that they all attended the Jewish school in their town. In order to give them an experience, we brought this group of boys to New York for the weekend. After a Shabbos, a very wonderful spiritual Shabbos, we had scheduled a meeting with Rabbi Pam on Sunday afternoon before returning the boys to their homes. Even though Rav Pam was already a renowned Rosh Yeshiva, he greeted the boys personally at his door and tended to their needs, including, of all things, standing at his kitchen counter, popping popcorn in order to serve his guests. Although the boys in the group may not have realized the impact of seeing Rav Pam making popcorn, we, the adult counselors, were taken by the unbelievable dedication that Rav Pam had to serve his guests. We didn't realize that impact, and I personally did not realize until many years later. Fast forward 8 years, I was attending the wedding of a family friend in New York, and I was approached by a well-dressed and well-mannered yeshiva boy. He said, "Shalom Aleichem," and asked if I recognized him. I apologized and said, "I'm sorry, I don't." And when he told me his name, it didn't help. He then went on to remind me that he was one of those boys that we had taken for that weekend in New York, culminating with the visit to Rabbi Pam. If I remembered correctly, he was not from the religious boys. He was not from the group of the really identifiably Jewish kids, although he was in a day school. So I asked him, "What happened? How did you turn out like this?" And he said, it started with that trip. When he got home and started investigating who Rav Pam was, and he realized that this was a leader of the Jewish people who gave his time, his effort, and his popcorn for these young visitors, he was extremely impressed. He decided at that point that he had more interest in his Jewish life and his connection to Torah. When he left 8th grade, just a year later, he asked his parents that instead of going to public school, could I please continue in a yeshiva? This is what I want. This is what I desire. After much cajoling and begging and pleading, his parents acquiesced and he enrolled in a yeshiva. He turned to me and said, "That's why I am who I am today." I looked at this boy and I said, believe it or not, Rav Pam is at this wedding. He is connected to one of the families who are marrying off their children. Would you like to speak to him? Excitedly, he answered, "Of course, it would be a tremendous privilege." I went over to Rav Pam, I reminded him of the story, and I told him that here is a boy who was affected by the popcorn story, affected by the love and the caring and the devotion Rav Pam had for every person, whether a child or an adult. The boys sat down with Rav Pam for a few minutes. They reminisced, and each went their separate ways. Later in the wedding, I caught up again with Rav Pam, and Rav Pam said to me, "Avrohom, you're an educator. He said 2 minutes. It took me 2 minutes to pop popcorn. But look what happened because of those 2 minutes. There are now generations that are going to be changed. There are going to be lives that are on a Jewish path because I took 2 minutes to pop popcorn. And there are other stories similar to this where Rav Pam told people the power, the potential of using 2 minutes of your time. Our 2 minutes can make a difference in our davening. If we spend 2 more minutes in our davening, 2 more minutes in our learning, what better davening, what better learning will we accomplish? But perhaps there's no greater area of 2 minutes than in helping other people. When we take 2 minutes to really think about the needs of another person, to really listen to what a person is saying, we can change lives. I have the tremendous privilege to work with Lema'an. Lema'an is an organization that is committed to helping people help themselves. It's very easy. It takes just a second to write a check or to give a coin. But when you take 2 minutes to listen to what a person really needs, you can affect their lives and the lives of their families forever. 2 minutes. At Lema'an, we take 2 minutes and another 2 minutes and another 2 minutes and another 2 minutes until we have created a path that a family can follow and change their course from despair to hope and a better tomorrow. 2 minutes is just 1/720th of your day, but it can make the difference in another person's life. 1/720th of your day can create life and generations for other people who turn to you for help, for guidance, or just a listening ear.